If you saw my last learning large format video, you would know that I haven't been able to develop my black and white film since the processing machines at my university have been busted. However, they are now fixed and working again, which means I can get back to developing my large format photos and doing this series. So basically, this video is going to be about the shoots and the photos that I have gotten from my last few weeks of shooting large format. Also, yes, I apologise for my voice, I've got a cold right now and it sounds pretty nasty. Anyway, since I couldn't develop my film, I decided to play it safe, and I've only taken 4 photos these past few weeks. I was going to take the 4x5 with me when I went to meet Jen's family, but it was too much hassle for what would be just like a photo or two, so I decided to keep it at home. So I took 4 photos at 2 shoots. The first shoot was with my friend Caitlin for my 4x5 yearbook, and the second was with Jen because the original plan for that shoot went wrong. So I'll start by talking about Caitlin's shoot. Since Caitlin goes swimming a lot, she wanted her photo to be at the beach with her swimming gear. These type of photos are exactly what I was wanting to capture for this yearbook. A person with something that they relate to, or just in a place that they relate to. And Caitlin done both, which was really cool. Anyway, me and Jen picked up Caitlin and we went to this beach seemingly in the middle of nowhere. It's called Grebe Beach and it was a really good place to shoot 4x5 since it was pretty secluded and it was easy to take my time. After walking down to the beach and getting my shoes a little bit muddy, we were deciding where to set up the shot. To help me decide, I was capturing some portraits on my Pentax 6.7. This is because it's a pretty similar focal length to the lens that I have on the 4x5, but to be honest, I don't know why I done this on my Pentax 6.7 when I could have just done it on my GFX. But anyway, I snapped a few photos on the Pentax and I'm pretty happy with how they came out. And as I was shooting these photos, I realised that I wanted some depth in the 4x5 photos. And there was this fallen down tree that created a leading line, which meant it was perfect to get that gradual drop off of focus. And it was also in the water a little bit, which was perfect since I wanted to include as much of the environment as possible to give some context. So I set up my 4x5, taking as much time as I possibly could since the last few times that I've used the camera, the photos that I have captured weren't great. Caitlin was in position, the camera was set up, and I went to take the photo. However, for some reason, my camera decided to come loose as I was putting the dark slide in, which meant that it moved. So I tightened everything up and tried again, but it happened once more. So I tightened everything back up once again, got Jen to hold the camera so it would stay still once I was putting my dark slide in, and then finally got the photos. I have no idea why it came loose, since in the next shoot I also got a photo in landscape orientation, and it was completely fine putting the dark slide in. Anyway, I got 2 photos of Caitlin. The first one she didn't smile, but since it was a yearbook photo, I thought that it was best to just get one of her smiling as well, so that's what she done in the second. I'm pretty happy with these photos and I'm really surprised that they are in focus since I shot both of them around f5.6 to f8. I was so happy once I saw these photos come out of the machine processor since I knew that they worked straight away. And I was so nervous waiting these weeks to get them developed since I was expecting them to be completely out of focus and just shit. But luckily for me, they turned out really well. But anyway, that was the end of that shoot, so we shall move on to the second one. I often look around on the Facebook neighbourhood watch group of my town, since quite often you can find some interesting posts that would make for some good photos. And while I was scrolling, I saw this post about a van that had been crashed and burnt not too far of a drive from my house. So me and Jen hopped in the car and headed over there with the 4x5 since it had the potential to be quite a good photo. So we got there and would you believe it, Cornwall Council has done their job for once and got rid of the van. The post that I had seen had been uploaded only the night before, so they were pretty efficient with getting rid of the van. So sadly I wasn't able to get a photo of the van, but since I was there and I had my whole 4x5 kit ready, I decided that I wanted to get at least one photo. So I got the 4x5 out my bag, set it all up and positioned it to look at the South Crofty mine entrance. From this perspective, you actually get a pretty good view of the mine entrance, the mine elevator I think it is, and also what I believe is the new pump and treatment plant, since they are actually opening the mine back up again and need to pump out all the water from the flooded levels. So I set up my composition, stopped down my lens and took the photo, and as you can see it is terrible. And there must have been a hair on the negative when I took the photo, since it's actually on the negative and it's not like there when I was scanning or anything, like it's properly on the negative. It's just really weird to see. But anyway, this shot is really boring. I should have framed it to get the sky in as negative space, or I just shouldn't have taken the photo in the first place. I also knew this shot wasn't going to be good as I was taking the photo, but to be honest, I was just really happy to be taking a 4x5 photo again, as at that point it had been like 2 weeks. I then asked Jen if I could get a portrait of her, so once again I set up my camera, stopped down my lens and was about to take the photo. Since it was a pretty bright day, Jen was going to keep her eyes closed until just before I took the photo. But since it looked quite good through the ground glass, I asked her if she could just keep her eyes closed for the photo. Just before I was about to take the photo, I had the idea to try and fake depth of field using some camera movements. I was shooting at f/22, so most of the environment was going to be in focus, but I don't like portraits like that. So instead I wanted to use some tilt so I could try and see if I could fake the shallow depth of field look. So I added some tilt and I was pretty happy with what I was seeing. I pressed the shutter button and captured the photo and I'm pretty happy with it. However, I tilted the lens the wrong way, so a little bit of the background is in focus as well as Jen's face, so it does look a bit weird. Shooting at f/22 meant that even though I tilted the lens quite a bit, there isn't this crazy focus drop off or anything like that, and it looks quite natural. Apart from Jen's feet do look a little bit weird since they are out of focus, but the rest of her body isn't. So yeah, these are the 4 photos that I've taken on my 4x5 these past few weeks. I definitely want to experiment more with camera movements to see if it's a better way to get a blurry background rather than just shooting wide open and potentially missing focus. Anyway, I'll be trying to upload a learning large format video every Sunday again, so be sure to look out for those. Also be sure to check out the rest of the videos in this series and be sure to check out my last video. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.